Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Emem back with another video. So today I'm gonna be doing something great. As you can see, I'm standing beside Asa Packer, who is the founder of Lehigh University, and I'm going to be, just taking you through my whole college experience and showing you around Lehigh's campus at the same time. So let's do this. I'm not meant to step on this. Apparently, if you step on this throughout your Lehigh experience, you won't graduate in 4 years. That's like the superstition. I feel like I've stepped on it a bunch of times and I think I'm graduating, so I think I'm good. All right, so before I came to Lehigh, I actually took a gap year between high school and college. So I am an international student from Nigeria, and during that 1 year, I basically used that time to prep for the SATs. I took my SATs during that year. I also just took a little job in a salon. It was kind of like a lonely year, to be very honest with you, because I went to boarding school for secondary school, and I was always around people. Like, we lived in bedrooms with 6 other girls. So going into gap year, I just felt alone because I'm also the last child in my family. It was just kind of like a weird year for me, just generally. And so I came off of that year into Lehigh, and I do think that year definitely affected my experience here, and we're going to talk more about that. But I just wanted to talk about how I did do a gap year before coming here. This is the alumni building, also known as the admissions building. This is basically where all the important offices are on campus. I actually worked here for a while because I was a tour guide. I was a tour guide during my sophomore year, which is actually a fun thing that I did at Lehigh. So as an international student, we were required to come to campus early, I think about a week early, to go for international orientation. And international orientation happened here in Williams Hall. And funny enough, this actually ended up being my favorite building on campus. I would always come here and study on my own. But basically, international orientation was bringing in all the international students from all over the world to kind of help us, orientate to American culture and Lehigh University in general. I really liked our international orientation actually, because I feel like we are all kind of like-minded. We kind of had this perception of we're all new to the American culture, so we're all learning. I ended up cutting international orientation short because I ended up doing something that Lehigh calls a prelusion, which is basically something that you do before orientation. Prelusion is kind of like a fun activity that people choose to do. If you want to do it, it's you pay extra. So the prelusion I decided to do was the outdoor adventure prelusion. Probably shouldn't have done that. I did the outdoor adventure program where basically we were taken to kind of camp kind of sites with different cabins, and we're able to do cool outdoor stuff like rafting, zip lining, all this really cool stuff. And I was really excited about that, and I ended up cutting my international orientation short to go to this event. To be honest with you, I actually wish that I didn't. It was just kind of a hard time for me because I felt like I couldn't connect with anybody there. So it was just a group of Americans, and I guess I was just thrown into that head first. I'm not trying to sound harsh, but it kind of felt like an American high school movie, to be very honest with you, because I never believed that those things were true, being an international student. But when I came and I experienced that, I was like, whoa, this just seems very High School Musical kind of vibe, where there's the cool kids and then there's the nerds and then all this different segregation. It kind of put a tone to my freshman year at Lehigh. Every single day, I had to walk all the way up to my dorm, Jervo. Jervo is actually the highest freshman dorm on campus. That's where I live. Can you imagine that? Can you see how out of breath I am? So this was such a hike every single day, and I was always out of breath walking up to this dorm. Absolutely crazy freshman year. So freshman year, I lived in this dorm. It is called Jervo. Jervo is actually the highest freshman dorm on campus. It is actually called the castle just because of how high up it is. Every single day I had to climb up here to come back home or go down to go to classes. So I remember freshman year, I would kind of avoid coming back home as much as possible. So I would stay on campus until I'm done with everything before I come back home, because it was just so hard coming all the way up and going all the way down. I chose to not have a roommate, and for some reason I got a single room. I actually didn't expect to get a single room. The reason why I decided to get a single room was because my whole secondary school, high school experience, I lived with other people in the same room. I just needed, space to myself, and I wanted to be alone. But to be very honest with you, looking back, I actually wish I had a roommate, because I think as a freshman in college, especially when you're international and like you're new to the culture, you don't know anyone here, I think having like that first friend, that roommate, can definitely be helpful to you. You guys imagine falling on those stairs. Just imagine that. So welcome to Emem Library. This is one of the libraries on campus, and this is actually where most freshmen and sophomores come to study and do homework and all that stuff that you do in a library. I think it took me a while to figure out how to study with people because I remember I would come in, there was like a little corner in this library that I would go like stay on my own and try to study on my own. And I feel like I quickly realized that college was not meant to be done on your own. You should probably have study buddies, homework buddies, so you can all do things together, because yeah, it's very hard to get through classes on your own in college. It's also really pretty inside. It's like one of the prettiest places on campus. I don't know, it looks like Harry Potter. Let me just say it like that. Welcome to the Department of Chemistry, the class that killed me freshman year. I felt so dumb in that class because in high school I actually really loved chemistry. Chemistry was one of my favorite subjects, and then I came here and took chemistry, and I was like, is this a different version of chemistry? Like, what's going on? So this class definitely was one of the hardest classes I've taken. It was just, I don't know, it has scarred me. It just scarred me in life, and I just wanted to point that out. So second semester freshman year, I actually started my YouTube channel for real, but I didn't have a camera, a tripod, or any of the equipment that I needed to actually make my videos. So very early on in my Lehigh career, I found out about the digital media studio. They lend you cameras or tripods and mics and all these things that you can use to make video. And I remember coming here and lending all this equipment, walking all the way up to Jervo to go film my videos. But this was just such a great resource for me. Also, they have like computers that have Final Cut on all the computers. So I would always come here and edit my videos too, because at that time I had a Windows computer. I did not have any video editing software. I had no money to buy any of this stuff. So this place made me able to create YouTube videos. And I'm so grateful. Like, it's one of my favorite places on campus till today. So the building behind me is called McGinnis Hall. Freshman year, second semester, I ended up getting my second job here. This is basically where I was able to actually put into use my computer science degree that I was trying to earn. And so here I was working with like a department that created the websites for the Arts and Sciences College. College is definitely what you make of it. Like, to get opportunities like internships and all these extra things, you really have to, look for them and apply and, work hard in finding them, because there's so many opportunities on campus, but you definitely have to find them. Even with the digital media studio, I literally found out about it somehow, and I would have never known that place existed if I didn't research if Lehigh had somewhere that I could borrow a camera, and I wouldn't have set in my YouTube channel. So these little things like that, it's very easy for these kind of little things to definitely brush by you in college unless you really kind of look for them and make use of them. I feel like I learned that second semester of college, and I kind of tried to roll with that my whole experience here. So another important thing that actually happened in McGinnis is I joined a Christian fellowship on campus called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. I am Christian. I think you probably already know that from some of my videos. And this was definitely something that played a huge part of my Lehigh experience. Freshman year, I joined this fellowship, and I was able to make some friendships that were actually really great. I went ahead to actually lead a Bible study my sophomore year into my junior year, which where actually I was able to definitely grow a bond with people in my Bible study and really, get to study the Word of God with people, meet people who were like-minded. Zonar Arts Center, where I basically pursued my arts. So Zonar Arts Center is the art center on campus, and this is where I basically did things that I actually really liked in terms of my artistic talents. I joined a dance group called African Renaissance, where it was basically a group of people that danced African dances. And it was just my place of feeling like I belonged, because this was my type of music, this was my type of dance. I knew this was a shaku shaku, and it was, my vibe. And so this was definitely a place that I felt like I could be myself. I performed on a big dance events on campus. things like Dance Fest, which was like this huge event that they had in spring, as well as Fusion, which was a huge event in fall. And so I just really enjoyed dancing with African Renaissance. They're just such great people. I signed up to work here as a backstage person in one of the theaters here. The Baker Hall is like the big hall in the building. I don't know how I did this, to be honest, because we used to carry like really heavy boxes, set up like the screen, set up like literally like very technical stuff with lighting and all the different things. So I basically worked backstage for like the whole first semester of my freshman year, but I ended up not liking it and I decided to change my job. The summer of freshman year I actually ended up staying on campus and taking summer classes and also working at my second job at McGuinness that I mentioned, the web developer job. Yeah, that was basically the end of my freshman year. So the beginning of sophomore year, I started my sophomore year as an international orientation leader, and this is Cox Hall, where the international office is. This is basically the building that takes care of like all international students on campus. I always had to come here to get help from the staff here, and they were always so great and so helpful. Came here a lot, to eat, to hang out with people, to go to the Emem room. The Emem room was the multicultural room where people of color on campus just felt safe in that room. So people would just go there and hang out. So whenever you go in there, there was always somebody there, a friendly face to see. My friend Chelsea, who was also in InterVarsity, would lead a Bible study in the M room, and so that was also a really great experience. I actually started that Bible study because I felt like InterVarsity wasn't really reaching people of color on campus, so I felt like it was important to bring it to where people of color felt safe on campus. It was definitely the highlight of my sophomore year, just being able to sit down with everyone and just talk about, everyone's life. Literally, we just ended up talking about life, and in relation to the Bible as well, but we really got to know each other like quite closely, and I was able to form really good friendships from that Bible study. So during sophomore year was also the time where a bunch of Africans, so me and some other Africans on campus, decided to try to see if we can start an African Student Association on campus, because we felt like it was missing on campus, and a lot of Africans just didn't have a place that they felt like they could be themselves and like a safe space. And so me, one of my friends called Tino, one of the seniors called Gladys, Bowie was also one of the seniors. We kind of came together and we were trying to create African Student Association, and we kind of like started the plan out sophomore year, but it didn't end up like starting sophomore year. It actually ended up starting in junior year, but it was kind of like the first step towards like creating this new club. Welcome to Warren Square E, where I lived sophomore year of my life. I ended up having a single in here and it was a great time. We had different events in our like common area, but yeah, this was a good time for me. It was a good experience. I liked having my single room, which was actually this was a huge room. I remember just like loving the fact that I went from like a tiny room in Dravo to a huge room here. Yeah, that's basically where I lived. Warren Square E. So sophomore year, I also became a track fellow. It means technology research and communication. So basically, track fellows are writing tutors that are also like any kind of communication, outlet. So like it can be videos, it can be presentations, it can be speeches, stuff like that. And we basically are assigned to a course every semester, and we're assigned to a specific amount of students, and your job that semester is basically to help those students go through whatever assignments in terms of communication. And it can be writing, so basically they'll submit their papers to you, you read it, you give them comments, you basically help them improve their papers. If it's a presentation, they'll present to you and you help them improve their presentation, stuff like that. It's kind of like a very small program that actually only allows about 30 people in per year, and I was able to start that job, and it was actually such a great experience for me. I absolutely loved doing it. So I would basically meet up with my students and have like our track conferences and help them with their papers or their videos or their PowerPoints. It really definitely helped me learn how to facilitate conversations, as well as just be a better leader, That was such a great thing that I joined, and I did it till senior year. Literally, I've graduated as a track fellow, and it's definitely one of the best things that I've done on campus. And then finally, by the end of sophomore year, I I had my first internship that summer. I was able to get that job. As I mentioned, my boss from the job that I was working as a web developer actually helped recommend me to this job, and I ended up working in a company in the area on a web project. So I ended up working in like their IT department on one of their internal websites, and that was such a great experience for me. I really learned how to just working in a professional environment. It was my first time actually working at like a professional company, and I was so proud of myself for getting that internship because it wasn't easy. I interviewed so much, and that was my first opportunity to work at a big company. So junior year was when I discovered this library, Fairchild Martindale Library. We call it FML. And this was the first time I really decided to actually come down here to study, because freshman and sophomore year, I would always go to Lindeman because it was closer to where I lived. But junior year, I lived off campus, and this is usually where most juniors and seniors come to study. Junior year was also when I actually started creating deeper and meaningful friendships and relationships with my friends. I definitely started meeting more people who I fully connected with and fully clicked with. So these were actually the friends that I ended up going on spring break with. We went to Puerto Plata, the Dominican Republic. I actually have a vlog about that. It's gonna be linked in the description box. So junior year, we were finally able to create the African Student Association, and definitely it was just one of the happiest times of my experience at Lehigh, because it was definitely something that was needed on campus and something that was so important to me and everyone who was involved in creating this club and this organization. And we were able to bring a bunch of Africans together on campus and have meetings and have dinner parties and have all these different little community things. And I was just, when you're around people who are just similar to you, you're just comfortable and you can just fully be yourself. And it was such a safe space for me and for my African friends, and we just always had fun, and we played music and we danced, and it was just so great. And now this organization exists, and I am so grateful, and I see it just growing over the years. We have an amazing president coming in right now, and it's just so I'm just so excited to see how it just keeps going. Just one of the best things that ever happened here at Lehigh for me. So junior year, this is where I live. It's a 4-bedroom house, and I lived in the attic all the way upstairs, and I absolutely loved my room. But to be honest, this house was not it. The roots of it was just so dirty that you couldn't even clean it. The floor had oil just stuck to it, and so it was just very dirty. I just really didn't enjoy living in this house. So the beginning of senior year was a lot of fun because I decided to be an orientation leader. So I came in a week early for orientation training and ended up helping the freshmen of that year come in to campus and be equipped to start at Lehigh. I actually got really good freshmen. They were so sweet. They were really excited to start college here, and it was just such a great experience and a great way for me to start my last final year at Lehigh. I'm really happy that I did it. It was such a great time, and I really had to tap into my go Lehigh spirit. So this is the front lawn. This is known as the front lawn, basically a very central part of Lehigh's campus. This is where people come and lay on the grass during the summer and sled during the winter. So it's just a main central point on campus. And so senior year, first semester, was actually probably the most laid back semester I had academic wise. I feel like I was not really taking classes that were really crazy. I was taking one class that was insane, which was the hardest class you would take as a computer science major at Lehigh, but that was the only class that I really spent so much time on. My goal for senior year, to be honest, was to really spend time with friends, because I just knew this was my last chance, my last time to really dive deep into my relationships, and I really took advantage of that. And so senior year, I got to live in this amazing apartment. I'm actually outside on the roof right now. This is definitely the happiest place I've lived in since being at Lehigh. I absolutely love living here. I absolutely love my roommates. It's just been such a great experience living here. I just love the apartment, love my room, love my roommates. It's just been great. And now I'm graduating, which is absolutely insane. I am Lehigh class of 2020. It's actually just insane to me that I have actually made it through these 4 years, because there were times where I really felt like I wasn't going to make it through. I didn't have confidence in myself, to be honest, but I have achieved my degree. I have a computer science degree now, and I'm gonna go ahead to become a software engineer, which is absolutely insane. It's just been a whirlwind journey for me, and although it hasn't ended the way that it should have, I'm just really, really grateful for where I am and having this degree and achieving all the things that I've achieved here at Lehigh. It's just been absolutely insane. Go to college, y'all, get an education. It's always great. It really teaches you life lessons. It really teaches you how to push through when things get rough. Because I know a lot of people kind of are losing faith in education, but it's so important, and it really can help you just move forward in life and teaches you so many different lessons, and allows you to meet such great people and have great opportunities.